Hi, welcome along to ArsenalFanTV. Now, I'm going to preview the game this weekend. FA Cup is back. Arsenal away to Preston in Deepdale. Seem to be clocking up some miles recently. Bournemouth, Preston, the week after that, Swansea away. We're clocking up the miles, but you know what? I'm looking forward to this game. It's a good old-fashioned cup tie. And I think it's coming at a decent time for Arsenal. You know, it's getting really intense in the race for the Premier League, and you know, there's a couple of players in our Coquelin's now sick. Ozil's been carrying illness, or he's been ill, so it's kind of coming at a good time where some of those players can rest, and we can, you know, some of the sort of fringe players can get to start in this game. Although it's going to be a very tough game. Preston are a decent team. You know, they're mid-table in the Championship, but on their day, they can give teams problems. I mean, they played Sheffield Wednesday, are at the top of the division at the moment, the other day at Deepdale, and they got a draw. Then on the other hand, they're a bit of a temperamental team. They played Leeds at home and they got beaten 4-1. They're that type of team. So that is going to be a very tough game for Arsenal indeed. I don't think we can think about going up there and taking it lightly. It'll be live on TV. It's a 5:30 kickoff. So it's a Saturday night, and they will be really up for it. Their crowd, which is a really good crowd, they've got a really good following, Preston. They'll be right up for it. And they've taken big scalps before. So we're really going to have to treat this game with the respect that it deserves. But they don't come up against Arsenal teams every week that pass the ball around. If we can match them for physicality, I think we're going to be all right. Who's going to be in and who's going to be out for that game? Well, definitely out is Mesut Ozil. Arsene Wenger was saying, has been in bed for a couple of weeks with a chest infection and the flu. That's been going around. Even our cameraman's got that at the moment. So he's definitely not going to play. Francis Coquelin, definitely out. He went off against Bournemouth. We now know that he's got a hamstring injury, so he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. And I figure that this is a game that he would probably definitely have played in. Remember, Mohamed El Neni won't be there because he's at the Africa Cup of Nations. So that's a few problems in those sort of areas. Who plays? Will Alexis Sanchez play? Now, he's played a lot of games recently. Lots of these players have played lots of games in a very short period of time over the Christmas period. So I would have thought that Alexis Sanchez, again, is going to be a player who's going to get rested. So there'll be no Alexis in that team. And then Lucas Perez apparently is carrying a bit of a slight injury as well. So there's a few doubts over him. The interesting one for me is, does Danny Welbeck start this game, or does he figure in the game somehow? We know that he's back in full training. We remember what he did a couple of seasons ago at Man United, and he'll be chomping at the bit to play in this game. And I think that somehow in this game he will figure, which will give the rest of the team and the fans a real boost if Danny Welbeck comes in at that game. So maybe look for Welbeck to be involved. I don't know if he'll start, you know, or if he'll come on at some stage, but I think we will see Danny Welbeck involved in this game. Theo Walcott, again, is another guy as well. He's been out for a couple of weeks. Looks like, from what Arsene Wenger's saying, that he won't be back in time for this game as well. I think it's a thing that Arsene Wenger doesn't want to risk some of these guys, because there's so many important games coming up. As I said, Swansea away is the following game after this FA Cup tie. And we want to go out there and we want to get the business done. We don't want no replays or nothing like that either. So what sort of team does Arsene Wenger go with for that game? Now, I've got my team. Here it is. I've gone for a pretty strong team. I presume that Ospina will be in goal because Ospina seems to be playing the cup games. Bit of a rest for Petr Cech. He had a bit of an indifferent game in the last game anyway. And Ospina, to be fair, has done nothing wrong when he's come in. So Ospina at right back, you can't really switch it around, can you? So for me, you've got to go Hector Bellerin. I mean, I suppose you could say get Gabriel in there somehow. I mean, but Gabriel, I've got Gabriel playing as a centre-half with Rob Holding and Nacho Monreal at left-back because, again, Kieran Gibbs, I don't think is going to be back in time for that game either. Or the other thing you could do is you could put Mustafi in. So you could have Mustafi in at a right back position, Gabriel, Holding and Monreal. Remember that Mustafi does play right back sometimes when he's playing for Germany. So you could put Mustafi in there. But I tend to go Hector Bellerin. He'd have another complete week's rest before we go into that game, Swansea away. In the midfield, I think Granit Xhaka will play. As I said, no El Neni, no Coquelin now. So Granit Xhaka and Aaron Ramsey. Ramsey really owes Arsenal a big game. This is an opportunity for him to do something. On the right wing, I go Oxlade-Chamberlain, who came on the other night and, looked decent when he came on. Alex Iwobi, I'd put in that number 10 position where he played against Crystal Palace and played really, really well. And I'd have Lucas Perez, if he's fit. As I said, there's doubts over him, but I'd have Lucas Perez over on that left-hand side. If he's not able to start, maybe start Danny Welbeck over there. And up front, Olivier Giroud. That would be my team. That's a fairly strong team. You know, yes, I'll have your kids on the bench, Rennie Adelaide and people like that. But I think that this is going to be a tough game, a physical game. And I don't think you can go with too many youngsters or too many players that haven't played quite a lot of games. I think if you do that, we saw against Southampton, you can get turned over. And that was at home, remember. So a strong team. Let's get off to a strong start. Let's not get knocked out of the competition. Let's get off to a strong start against Preston North End. It's not going to be easy. They've got decent players. And as I said, they'll have a crowd right behind them. It's going to be a tough game. But I fancy us to win this. What do you guys think? What's your team selection? I'm always interested to find out what team you would go with. Leave it in the comments below and let me know. But it's the big one on Saturday. Arsenal versus Preston North End. One of the biggest games of the round in the FA Cup. Looking forward to it.